of us have struggled through the COVID-19 pandemic, and many of our communities have been particularly hard hit. Some things definitely need to change, but a few things should stay the same, like protecting your child from serious diseases you can prevent now. Preventable diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough. Is camp, childcare, or in-person school on your family's agenda? Give your child a healthy and safe summer and school year by making sure they're up to date on vaccinations and well child visits. You have the power to protect. Call your healthcare provider to find out what vaccinations your child is due for and make an appointment today. If you need help finding a provider, visit parenthelp123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588. An interpretation is available.
1, 2, get down!
What's up, big and little homies? This is Masvita Maraire, host of Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your one-stop shop for Seattle sports. We cover preps, we cover college, we cover pro, we cover it all. Huskies, Mariners, Seahawks, Garfield, South, Roosevelt, Metro, King County. This is where you want to listen to for all the sports that's happening in Seattle. Seattle Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
See a bad
Dealing with COVID-19 is uncharted territory, and everyone has different challenges. People may feel anxious, down, or overwhelmed. For some, these feelings can lead to changes in sleep patterns, an increased use of alcohol or drugs, or withdrawing from the people around them. If you know someone who's having a hard time coping, you can help by reaching out to talk and listen. To learn more about how you can help someone in need, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Brought to you by the state of Washington.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio World. Welcome everyone to this Friday's edition of the impacts of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. It's me, Tony B, and yes, we continue this series of shows where we discuss how COVID has and continues to impact our communities, our lifestyle, our politics. It impacts and affects pretty much everything. So now we are coming out of restrictions, and that in itself is a change. Although for some folks, it could be a chance to get back to what normal feels like. There are certainly folks who want to go back to something else. And of course, this transition for some folks is a little scary. You just got used to COVID, got used to the things that COVID has put upon us, the way we interact, the way we get our messages. And in some cases, a lot of folks have been more comfortable wearing masks. One of the benefits of it is that it did reduce the number of flu cases that we had last year. So there's just a lot of things that are impacted, by the letting up of restrictions. Washington State, I believe, was the first state in the country to reach the 70% vaccination rate among 12 and older. Now, that's statewide. Having said that, that doesn't go across the board to everybody. And racially, there is a difference. Only 50% of African Americans, as an example, have been vaccinated or received their first shot for vaccination. My guest joining me here is going to be talking about the Rainier Valley Food Bank. The busiest food bank in the Seattle area, serves over 1 million meals annually. About a week ago, they announced that they had acquired a new building, and that the new building will transform their ability to serve the growing demands of the communities that have been hit by COVID-19's impact. So it's situated in the heart of Rainier Valley for over 25 years. Rainier Valley Food Bank did see a significant increase in the demand for its food programs while working in a space that barely contained the staff, volunteers, and donations needed to meet the growing community needs. Right down there, just north of Genesee on Rainier. So, new things happening with the Rainier Valley Food Bank. And then also there is an executive director who is fairly new to this position as well. So I'd like to welcome to the program Gloria Hatcher-Mays, the executive director for the Rainier Valley Food Bank. Gloria, how are you?
Hi, how are you doing? It's very nice to see you today, Tony. How's your day going?
Under the circumstances, fantastic. I do have to say, we had a little cool down yesterday, which is cool. It seems like the heat is back. I don't know what the temperature is, but I know when I'm hot.
That's the best thermometer, Tony.
not 109 like a few days ago, but I know when I'm hot. So I don't know what the temperature is yet, but I steps outside of the house and it's hot. Gloria, sometimes I give background information on folks, but then, I like the audience to hear from the guests that I'm talking to. So I've got a bunch of information here on you and the work that you've done, but I thought it would be better to let you give a little bit of background information on who you are. And let's just start with that. Again, I'm new executive director, as of May of 2019. Gloria Hatcher-Mays for the Rainier Valley Food Bank, which is again been a fixture in our community. I did give some details earlier about the number of folks that the Rainier Valley Food Bank serves. Gloria Hatcher-Mays, how are you? Who are you?
I am really, really great. Thank you so much. And in terms of who I am, I've been a resident of the city of Seattle my whole life, with a brief foray into international travel because my father was in the Army. So I spent a little bit of time in Germany and actually used to speak German fluently, which is odd for somebody to do, but I've lost all of that skill. But I'm sure that you care more about my career life, and I view myself as a change agent. I worked for a large telecommunications company for over 20 years. And when I left employment with the big Fortune 500 gig, I decided I really wanted to do something that resulted in helping people. So I went into the nonprofit sector. And as an executive director, I have operated the food bank at Pike Market and their senior center for a few years. I did a little bit of time in the healthcare industry as an executive director and found my way to Rainier Valley Food Bank a couple of years ago. I love what I do to serve the community. It's a wonderful organization to be a part of. And I am hopeful that the skills that I bring to the table to move the organization forward are going to serve us really well as we embark on our journey into our new facility. So we have some exciting things happening there.
So everybody's not familiar with the Rainier Valley Food Bank. I know for a number of people who do live in South Seattle, whether you have been there or you have just driven by, you're familiar with the role that Rainier Valley Food Bank plays in our community. So quickly, let's just talk about the Rainier Valley Food Bank for anyone who may be unfamiliar with who the Rainier Valley Food Bank is, what you do, who you serve.
Okay, so we are an organization that really places food at the center of everything that we do. We are an organization that has 4 different channels to get food out to the community. The most prevalent one is an in-store grocery store that we run out of our little facility there right at 4205 Rainier Avenue South. Mm-hmm. And when the pandemic hit, we had to close that down. So one of our other channels, our home delivery program, became our primary method of being able to get food to people in need. And we did that because there are 2 really critical things about COVID, which I know that you already know, but people needed to stay home and they needed to stay safe and sheltered, but they also needed to find pathways to still get the services that they needed for their families. And most of the people we serve would come on the number 7 bus line to arrive down at our facility to do their grocery store shopping. So we knew we had to figure something out, and we needed to do so quickly. And fortunately, the community rallied around and helped us stand up this whole new service delivery model, moving from about 100 cars that we were, 100 households that we were delivering to over 1,000 households that we were delivering to in this new home delivery model. So it was a monumental undertaking to be able to do it. But
I'm going to stop you there for a second and remember where you were, because I'm not just going to let that go by. You went from delivering to about 100 households to delivering to about 1,000 households.
That's absolutely right.
Wow.
The program was originally designed to serve people who were unable to reach us because they couldn't get transportation or they had a health issue. And so their doctors would sign off on the fact that they really needed to get food from us. So we would travel to them and deliver it to them pre-COVID. But with COVID, everybody fell into that category. They really needed to stay home. There was an air traffic controller who was on furlough from his job, and he helped us identify the logistics that we needed to be able to shift to that model to give us the capacity to be able to deliver to that number of households. So it is as big as it sounds. It requires us to have volunteers who are willing to drive the routes for us. So every week we have between 50 and 75 volunteers who show up to pick up the routes, pick up the groceries, and drive to our neighbors and make sure that they have food. So,
I'm going to stop again, because as Rainier Avenue Radio, one of the things that we do is, of course, we amplify the diverse voices of our community. Of course, we report on the things in our communities where there are concerns and where there are issues. But the other thing that we like to do is we like to shine a spotlight on all the amazing, incredible things that happen in our community, the people who live in our community, that support our community, because a lot of times on mainstream media, the only time you hear about South Seattle, Rainier Avenue, is when there's a crime or a shooting or something like that. So that's just amazing. So before we go any further, we're just going to give you a round of applause for serving our community and the work that the Rainier Valley Food Bank has done in this time of crisis. That's awesome. I think that. So anyway, continue. Good job. I got some other questions that may not be as easy to answer, but I got to give props where props is deserved. That's a wonderful thing to hear about our valued food bank. That's awesome.
Yeah, Tony, I really need to give a round of applause to our neighbors. The people in our community who do step up and step out and get this done. I mean, it was risky for them to be able to come out of their homes to do this, but we developed a strategy to keep them safe too. Our volunteers were always protected. They were able to do these deliveries without risking their health, but they didn't have to do it. And they did. They showed up for us. So that really speaks to the caliber of folks that are in our community, and I think that they deserve a round of applause as well.
Now, how long was that gap between the initial shutdown back in March of 2020 and the ability to organize, reorganize, recalibrate, and then start getting food to people? How long was that gap? How long were people isolated and essentially who depended on you for subsistence? Did they have to figure something else out?
No. And here's the thing. When it happened that we realized that we were going to have to shift into that mode, in planning meetings with my staff about what we were going to do, the first thing they told me is, we'll do anything you want, boss, but we're not going to close. So we never shut down. We stayed open the entire time. And as people would come for in-store shopping, we would give them instructions on how to sign up to get their groceries delivered to home. So we did sort of an overlay of our program so that we could shut down without people missing their groceries at all, ever. And I'm really proud of my staff for that too, that they were really committed to making sure that their neighbors, their clients, the people that they cared about continued to get the food and the items that they needed. It's not well known, but we also give out things like baby formula and diapers. it's a big part of what we do. So there was just no way we were going to be able to shut down at all.
My guest again is Gloria Hatcher-Mays, Executive Director of the Rainier Valley Food Bank. And you have a new building. So let's find out about that too. But thank you for sharing that story. Would love to get information out about the mighty Rainier Valley community, how we get down. So you've got a new building. Is that correct?
Have a new building. We're so excited. We are so excited.
Where is this new building? How long has this been in the works? And how's it working?
Well, this has been in the works for over 5 years. The board and the staff have had a vision for this that predates my tenure with the organization. So when I came on board, we were headed down a path, and that path got derailed. And suddenly a miracle happened, and a building became available. It was within the range that was within striking distance for us to be able to afford it. And we closed on it in May of this year. It is taking us from having a space of, I think I mentioned 1,200 square feet to well over 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we have plans in the works to even increase to almost double that by the time we're done with our remodeling activities. So it is a huge opportunity for us. The space is located at 9021 Rainier Avenue South. And some folks in the community will probably recognize that address because it was formerly owned and operated as the Southwest Mortuary by Bonnie Watson.
Okay.
And we know that it is a space of deep spiritual connection for a lot of folks in our community. We understand it was a place where they would go and celebrate the lives of their loved ones. And we really want to be respectful of that. And so one of the things that we're doing right before we even move into the building is connect with community members to hear from them how we can honor the space from its history into its future. We want to continue to celebrate life in that building, only this time we're going to use food as the point of celebration. Nourishment, care, building community, making it a space where community members can gather and be a part of what we're trying to build there as a community hub, a community food resource, and a community resource for many different things, like if you need help with your rent, if you need help with transportation, we have a plan to develop programs that will provide short-term job skill training to help people get higher waged jobs, working in big box stores, for example, or in culinary arts, working in the restaurant industry. And so this building is really a pathway for us to realize a vision of our future that we've had for a very, very long time. And we really do hope the community will join us and reach out to us if you want to be a part of this, be a voice for your neighbors too, and let us know what your needs are for this space and for the building. We really want to hear from people and make sure that this is a community-led effort to rebuild a community food center right in Rainier Beach.
Now, for folks who need your services, as we know that need never stops, what can they do? What should they anticipate? What should they expect? Can they drop in, or are there appointments? Are there certain days for anyone who needs the Rainier Valley Food Bank right now and what you provide? What should they do?
Well, the first thing that they should do is visit our website, and on the website will be information that will help
I'm going to stop you there because
Okay.
everybody doesn't have a website. I think you know that.
I do know that.
So let's start from that level. You don't have a website. You're hungry. You need to feed your family. So let's start from there.
Okay. Well, there's two other ways that you can reach us. You can come on by and we'll sign you up so that you can start to receive food for your family. We would add you to our home delivery program because we haven't yet reopened for in-store grocery shopping yet. We also have a program where if you are unsheltered or you don't have a kitchen or a way to prepare your food, we can give you immediate groceries that you can consume without having to cook them. They don't require heating. And we distribute those bags every day that we're open. So Tuesday through Saturday, you can stop by and you can pick up food. We always have items that are available to secure while you're there on site with us. We'll give you a grocery bag and fill it up for you. But we really want to make sure that when we reopen, we're doing so in a way that will still respect the fact that we aren't yet done with the COVID virus. And we really want to make sure that you don't get sick. I also heard you mention in the lead into this interview session that only 50% of the African-American community have gotten their vaccines. Mm-hmm. And one of the other things that we can do is help you get a vaccine. We do have the health department that runs a pop-up clinic at our site occasionally, and we can make sure that you have the information about when to stop by so that you can get a COVID vaccine and to protect you and your family and keep you safe and healthy. The second way that you can reach us is to give us a call. If you just reach out to us by phone, we can take all of the information over the telephone and make sure that you get your needs met. If you need an emergency delivery of food, we can probably take care of that for you when you call. And I can give you the phone number to call directly and just tell them you want to get on board. You want to join the community of folks that we serve, and we can make sure that gets taken care of for you.
What's that number?
It's 206 723 4105.
723-4105. We'll probably get that number up and share that number with folks as well. I'm going to talk again a little bit more about the Rainier Valley Food Bank, but I'm going to get in your Kool-Aid here a little bit because you brought it up again about 50% of the Black community that when I initially listened to that has not received even the first vaccination. Now, at Rainier Avenue Radio, we understand, and we understood from the beginning that everyone wasn't going to be on board with this, and we understood some of the reasons why, in particular in the Black community. So this isn't, on you speaking for Rainier Valley Food Bank. This is just your personal thoughts on this to see where you stand on it. And if you don't want to comment, you don't have to. But what we've also seen is a decline in other vaccinations across the board and for the Black community. So we're talking about measles, whooping cough, mumps, things that we have gotten vaccinated for so that they no longer ravage our communities. Mm-hmm. Again, with coronavirus, we had too many countless myths and disinformation and misinformation out there to even start discussing what they were. But it definitely, caused people to pause about, hey, should I or should I not get vaccines? This whole process about it. Mm-hmm. At this point, for me, I would hate to see our community be re-impacted by some things that aren't impacting our community again, like measles. Now there's still the vaccine, and we know now that the people who are going to the hospitals, the people who are dying, are people who are not vaccinated predominantly. What are your thoughts as a person in the community? You say a change maker. When I say that, about only half of the Black people in the state have gotten vaccines. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I understand why there might be some hesitancy. So, the first thing I always think about is honoring where people are and making sure that they know that I'm respectful of where they might be coming from and the decisions that they're making about their own personal well-being. I would also say, though, I would testify. I have to tell you, my husband was sick with COVID and nearly died. He was in the hospital from March, the entire month of March last year, and came home and had lost about 40 pounds. Could not walk, had to relearn how to walk and take care of himself. I mean, you do not want this disease. And I know a lot of folks feel like it may not be real, or someone might be trying to take advantage of them with this vaccine. But I'm here to tell you that the ravages of the disease are so horrible that it's almost worth the risk to take the shot. I myself have had both my vaccines. I had the Moderna vaccine. I had no ill effects. And I think that's what it takes, Tony. It takes people who are being real with other people, that are trusted advocates, people who can share their personal stories, that aren't trying to shine them on, that aren't trying to give them a lot of information that's not real. And that's how we convince people, and it's one-on-one conversations with your neighbors to let them know your personal experiences, and why it matters, and why it means, that we can really get rid of this virus in our community once and for all. It has devastated the African American community worse than most other ethnicities. And we need to protect ourselves. We can't count on anybody else to do this for us. We need to grab the reins and drive this forward, because we say so, because we have found for ourselves what works. And I think that that's what's going to make the biggest difference.
Gloria, I've talked to folks, obviously, months after this has started, and some of them who have told me, I wasn't going to get it, the vaccine. I believed this or I believe that, who've come to me and said, I had it. And almost verbatim to what you said, they say, you don't want to get this. And so I think getting those stories out there from people, who may have been skeptical, but and I'm not even talking about the people who come to me and say, I lost my grandmother, I lost my aunt, I lost my cousin to COVID, because you can still take that back to them if they are not vaccinated and you are not vaccinated. So I sidebar for a minute. I just wanted to get your personal perspective on that, since you work very closely with community members, and you are giving away the vaccine now, so that it is available, and it is available, whereas before it wasn't available. So now it is available. So, okay, back to Rainier Valley Food Bank.
Yeah, well, the vaccine is part of our story, I have to tell you, because we really want to be a one-stop shop for our community and our community members. And having vaccines available right at the food bank is part of why we aren't a traditional model for a food bank. A lot of people think we only do one thing, but we do so much more. And if your listeners take away nothing else, know that we really want to be a resource for them. You can come to us with any question, and even if we don't offer that particular service, we will not leave you. We will get you connected up to someone who does and make sure that your needs are met. And that's how we want to be viewed. And when we grow into our new building, we'll have more space to do even more of that type of work, to lift up all the whole community. That's our vision. That's our dream. We want to be a community hub, a place of access, a place where people can gather, a place where people can plan, a place where people can learn, a place where people can grow. And it all starts with food. And if they take away nothing else, know that's who we want to be for you. And we'd love for you to come get to know us better.
I'm excited to share Rainier Valley Food Bank with our listeners, those who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, those who are listening to us on our affiliate stations, and of course, Rainier Avenue Radio App. This is just really appreciate the work that you do. For folks who want to maybe volunteer or donate or want to give back or want to support, and they want that support to go to Rainier Valley Food Bank, what can they do? How can they get down?
We have a lot of different ways. We do, again, to the website, but you can call us too.
We're going to assume some of these folks who want to give have websites, but if they don't, they can still give. So you can share that website information. I just had to make sure we took care of the people who may not have had access for that other information. But yes, tell them what they can do digitally as well as physically.
Okay. Well, we love it when folks like organize food drives for us, for example. We still are taking food donations. Another way that you can help us out is by clicking on that volunteer button, and you can let us know how you want to volunteer. We have lots of different options available. You can become one of our drivers. You can help out with administrative work. You can make phone calls to clients to make sure that they know about any changes to our delivery schedule and things like that, to make sure we never miss an opportunity to get food out to folks. you can make donations to us. It really is helpful to us. Any amount of funds that you can afford to give us, we are so very happy to receive. We have a woman who gives us $1 every month, and we keep it in a little envelope. And when we get up to $10, we try to find a way to spend it on our volunteers. So everything counts, everything matters, and everything is helpful. And you can either access the website to figure out how to do that volunteering or that donation, or you could give us a call directly at the food bank. The same phone number as accessing food services will work for you to volunteer as well.
Well, Gloria, it's great to have this opportunity to meet you even virtually. Appreciate the work that Rainier Valley Food Bank has done in our community for years and the direction that things are going right now. Know that you always have a home and a place to share your stories right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station. I got about 45 seconds left that I want to use to give you the opportunity for final words.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. As I mentioned, we are the busiest food bank in the city of Seattle. We are serving over 1,000 households every single week. We love that the community has rallied around to support us and to help us grow. We are so thrilled that we're going to be able to move into our new building, our new space, and we would love to have community come out and support us. We are especially in need of your good thoughts about how you see us growing into that new space and into and expanding our program. So again, I invite you to contact us, to communicate with us. We'd love to hear from you. It's very important to us. And I also want to tell you, Tony, if you ever want to come by for a visit or you want to broadcast out of our space, you just let me know. You can come on down.
You know what? I think we're going to make that happen. I'm sure we're going to make that happen. Gloria, great talking to you again, Executive Director of Rainier Valley Food Bank, Gloria Hatcher-Mays. It's me, Tony B. This is the Impacts of the Coronavirus on South Seattle and Community show. And something we do every Friday. We're going to take a little break right here on all of our audio channels. Make sure and stay tuned. We'll have more information for you on the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle. We'll be back.